Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss? The first episode of The Last of Us debuted as one of the most watched premieres of any in the channel's history, thanks in large part to its riveting depiction of an outbreak that quickly infects a great portion of the world's population and threatens to wipe out humanity. One of the hallmarks of a good Outbreak story is how it handles this end-of-the-world scenario, with some choosing to barely discuss it, while others go into great detail to explain how it has occurred. The Walking Dead, for instance, did not give its fans hardly any clue as to the cause of the zombie apocalypse until over a decade after the first issue was released. When The Last of Us was released as a video game in 2013, it chose to only give a brief explanation of the cause of the outbreak through a newspaper headline, but the live-action series seems to be taking a much more direct approach with its explanation. So here I will go over what caused the cordyceps outbreak on the HBO adaptation of The Last of Us, and also how the infection is different in the video game. But before I do, I just want to thank you for clicking on this video, and ask that you please hit the like and subscribe buttons to help my channel grow. As explained by Dr. Newman in the prologue of The Last of Us, the cordyceps infection is rooted in actual scientific fact. It is a fungal infection that takes over an insect's body and motor functions, which basically turns it into a husk that can spread the infection. The doctor also explains that the infection is unable to survive in an environment over 94 degrees, which keeps us warm-blooded humans safe
for now.
In the video games, the initial outbreak was seemingly tied to infected crops in South America. These crops were sent all over the world and thus able to infect people on each continent. Another change from the video game series to the HBO adaptation is that in the video game, the infection can spread not just from person to person, but it can also be breathed in the air. When an infected body is no longer able to move, it starts to emit spores from an opening in the upper torso that can infect other people. It is believed that this was omitted from the live-action series so the actors would not be forced to wear gas masks, since in the video game, the characters are constantly putting them on and taking them off while traveling. The incubation time for the infection is also slightly different in the video game than it is in the HBO series. In the first episode, there is an infograph on the wall that explains how the infection takes longer to manifest depending on how far from the brain it took place. But in the video game, victims seem to succumb to the infection in 12 to 24 hours, regardless of where they had been infected. While there is no point in the first episode where any one character comes out and states how the infection began, it is easy to piece together from various clues. Besides the doctor in the prologue informing the audience on the effects of cordyceps, he also states that if the temperature of the planet were to rise just a few degrees, that nature could also adapt.
What if, for instance, the world were to get slightly warmer?
Due to climate change, the temperature on this planet has risen twice to 3 times the amount on average year over year, and since the series begins in 2003, that is over 30 years after the prologue was supposedly filmed in the late 60s. One of the areas in the world that is most vulnerable to the effects of climate change is Indonesia, specifically the city of Jakarta, which has already caused flooding and mass pollution. When Joel, Sarah, and Tommy are having breakfast, a news report about trouble in Jakarta can be heard on the radio.
Disturbances in Jakarta, but are advising US
Jakarta? Where is that, Middle East?
Jakarta is also known for being one of the largest suppliers of flour, including being the home of the largest flour mill plant in the world. You may have noticed that in the first episode, there are many references to items with flour in them and the family avoiding them, such as Sarah not being able to find pancake mix in the house, Joel saying that he is on an Atkins diet, Sarah not eating any of the cookies at the Adler house, and later Joel forgetting to buy a birthday cake. These choices are probably what saved these characters from being a victim of the outbreak, because it seems to have been caused by tainted flour from Jakarta. Besides Joel and Sarah avoiding flour, the Adlers are shown to be force-feeding biscuits to an older woman and then making cookies later in the day. Sarah does not eat any of these cookies because they have raisins in them, another way her character avoids getting infected. After the old woman is showing signs of infection, we can see that it emanates from her mouth and throat, another sign that she ingested whatever has infected her. Since flour is used in so many things that we eat every day, it would have been easy for tainted flour to spread across the world. The infectious incubation time of 12 to 24 hours is also short enough that people would feel the effects of the infection before any world government would be able to intervene and pull the tainted products from the shelves of grocery stores. Much like how the inspiration for the cordyceps infection is rooted in science, the spread of the outbreak is also pretty realistic, which adds to the horror of the story. Something everyone on this planet knows all too well since 2019 and the outbreak of the COVID virus. It will be interesting to see if the survivors of the cordyceps outbreak ever understood what caused it. Well, that is all I have, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time on What Did I Miss? Hey everyone, Eric here, letting you know about a brand new podcast that I've started in 2023 named WDIM News, and I'm releasing it on Monday mornings. Each week I will bring you up to date on the latest in sci-fi and other movie and series news, while also bringing on guests from time to time to join me in the fun. You can check out my latest podcast right here. Make sure that you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so that you know when they are released each week. Thank you for all your support, and I will see you next time.